How much does a hair transplant cost in Turkey today? Not 3 years ago, 5 years ago. How much does it actually cost today? Well, that's the question I've answered. It took me a few weeks and I did something crazy to find out the true answer. And you're going to find out in this video today. Let's go. So, what is the hair transplant cost based on 2025 to 2026 assessments? So, the plan was very simple. Present myself as a balding man, and that's not easy because I'm not sufficiently balding at the moment, and approach 3 or 4 of the biggest and most popular clinics in Turkey, go through their full onboarding process, get an estimate, try to blag a discount, and from there, once I have all that information, I can work out the true cost. A very clear plan, and this is there to mimic what would the average person, man or woman, would do when they think about hair transplant in Turkey. And there was a catch. I was not allowed to use my social media influence because it's obvious why I wouldn't do that. It's going to skew the results. Because if I tell them that I have this channel, they're going to go and look and they say, hey, let's just use this guy as a marketing example. And also, I deal with these clinics every week, so a lot of them know me, so I had to be careful not to disclose my identity in full. So, phase 1. And the immediate problem is, how do I make myself appear bald? Because that's really tricky. Thank God there's something called AI, and it's amazing. Honestly, I was really shocked how good AI was at making me appear bald. But you should not do this because it's not ethical. I'm only doing it for the interest of research, for the interest of this experiment, to get the true cost of a hair transplant for you guys. And the ultimate marker I'm going to use as a measure of the cost is price per graft, not the total costs, because they have so many different packages. Some of these clinics, they have discounts, they have card fees, there's just too many variables. So we're going to focus on just price per graft, which is a well-known marker. And also I'm going to assess the difficulty. How difficult will I find it to get a named surgeon for my procedure? Because this is something people who go to Turkey struggle with. And also I'm going to try and see how much discount I can get. So phase 1, some notes. So I approached 4 massive big clinics in Turkey. I will not reveal which ones because I know some of you in the comments will be like, can you tell us which clinics? No, I won't, because some of these clinics are very sensitive. They will do a takedown of the video if they appear on here and they think I've not been nice to them. Some clinics have done that before. I think if you go through my videos, you'll know which clinic I'm referring to. So I'm not going to do that. But if you are desperate to know specifically which clinics I featured here, then you can join my mailing list or you can message me if you have my details. 3 clinics were amazingly quick at getting back to me, same day on WhatsApp, which was really good. And one clinic did not bother. I have a theory why that clinic didn't bother, because I think they knew from my email who I was, because I was dealing with them a few years ago in terms of referring them clients who I thought were suitable for their clinic. But the relationship kind of broke down and they haven't been very nice to me since. They haven't liked me that much. But, oh well, life goes on. So, phase 1 notes. All the clinics were very strict on photos. They really wanted you to send a set of photos posing in certain positions. When I say posing in certain positions, not that kind of position, not those kind of positions. Good medical background check. All of them. They were really good at checking the medical background, which was a really excellent point. But lots of self-promotion. Literally every other message was like, here is our results. Here's the awards we won. Here's our certificates. It gets a bit tiresome sometimes. But overall, I would say the initial phase 1, the onboarding, was quite a professional experience. So I was quite happy with that. So what were the outcomes of phase 1 onboarding discussions? Clinic 1 accepted me for 3,000 to 3,200 grafts. They said this is what I would need to cover my hairline and the crown. Clinic 2 also accepted me 3,600 grafts, so a bit more than Clinic 1. Clinic 3 also accepted me, so 100% acceptance, which is not the case for everybody. Clinics in Turkey are getting a lot more picky these days. Clinic 3 said 4,500 grafts, the most out of all 3. Now, my own estimate, looking at these pictures, I would say 3,000 to 3,200 is a good educated guess in terms of what I would need for a good hairline and a good crown. So I would say Clinic 1 is right on the money in terms of the graph numbers. And let me just say, if you had no idea about the industry and how many graphs you would need, you'd just be completely blind. You'd be at the mercy of these clinics because you would know that clinic one was the one that was giving the most sensible graph numbers. This is why I say, make sure you join my consultancy service if you are thinking of a hair transplant. And yes, that is a plug for my service. Let's move on to phase 2. Clinic 1, what did they quote me in terms of price? Highest package was €5,790. So they presented me with 3 different packages. I think it was like silver, diamond, silver, gold, and diamond, or something like that. And the highest package was €5,790. And this included access to the top surgeon. So the top surgeon is going to be doing my procedure, and all the prep work would be done by one of the top surgeons. When I say the top surgeons, I mean the named surgeons. Each clinic has a named surgeon. It'll be like Dr. So-and-so's clinic. Like that's the named surgeon. But the implantation would be done by assistants. So all the prep work, likely all the channel openings, would be done by the top surgeons, and the laborious process of implanting each group of follicles would be done by the assistants, and also included 5-star hotel, transport, and breakfast. So the price, if you went for the lowest package, it would have been €1.8 per graft. And if you went for this package, the one on the screen now, €5,790, the price would have been 1.93, so just under €2. So when it comes to Turkey, the hardest bit, the easy bit first, is finding the right clinic. But trust me, the hardest bit, by far the hardest bit, is getting with the best team within that clinic. Because these clinics are so big, they have multiple teams, multiple surgeons and technicians. Even if you find the right clinic, you need to get with the A team. And that's exactly what me and my team help you do. We help you find the right clinic, and more importantly, book you with the right team, with the A team of that clinic, so that we give you the best chance of getting the best results. So if that sounds like a plan, hit me up. The details are below this video. That was for Clinic 1. Clinic 2, no packages. They had no different, 3 packages or anything. They just had one package. It's straight €3,723. And they gave it to me in Great British Pound, but I've changed it to euros using December 2025 exchange rates. And this package included top surgeon who oversees things. So the top surgeon is not going to be doing the procedure. They're just likely going to be walking in and out of the room to see how things are going, maybe do a bit of the planning at the beginning. So kind of supervisor role. And the actual work is done by the support staff. I pressed the lady who was onboarding me, and I said, what do I need to do to get the top surgeon to do the work for me? And she was like, no, they don't. She said, in Turkey, no top surgeon does the work, which is not true, because clearly they do in the other clinic that we just mentioned, clinic number 1. This package also included the 5-star hotel, transport, and breakfast. Price per graft was €1.03, so almost exactly €1. So significantly cheaper, like potentially half the price of the clinic number 1. And now to clinic number 3. Again, no packages, the straight price of €3,320. Again, using the exchange rate of December 2025. This also included top surgeon will be present. They're going to be there, but they're not going to be doing the work. The work done by experienced assistants. Again, experienced assistants, that could mean anything. And they kept talking about FUE Gold. They always have some sort of a marketing gimmick, these clinics. FUE Gold, before that, it was ICE FUE, or was it FUE ICE a few years ago? I have no idea what FUE Gold means. Does anyone know what FUE Gold means? Let me know in the comments below. And this clinic went overboard on the level of detail on the equipment they use for their procedures. They told me about all the pens and all the tools and all the this and that, and I'm like, this is too much. Why do I need to know all this? But again, this also included 5-star hotel, transport, and breakfast. The price per graft for this clinic was the cheapest by far, only €0.73 per graft. So the way you work out price per graft is just divide the quote for the cost, divide that by the total number of grafts quoted to get a price per graft. Okay, so in phase 3, I also asked for an influencer discount. Basically, I told them, listen, do you give discounts to influencers? And all 3, not surprisingly, they said, yes, we do. They're very interested and willing to consider this. And one of them, I pressed them on like how much discount. And two of them just refused to tell me. One of them floated a figure of €300 off, which is quite a lot. And they asked for socials. They want to see your socials because obviously they want to see if you have the right audience. There's no point giving a discount to someone who's got completely the wrong audience, like a gamer or something who's got a very young audience that are not going to be interested in hair transplants. That wouldn't make any sense. So which one would I go for? If I was truly choosing a clinic, looking for a clinic in Turkey for hair transplant, which one would I choose for right now, based on this information? Let's go through the thinking, the logic, the process, because this is something I want you to take away from this video about how to consider your options. Or you can just join my service and I'll do all this for you. And clinic number one, the most expensive, but with the clearest access to named main surgeon. So they were most expensive, but they told you if you pay the money, you're going to have the 80. Straight cut. You pay, what was that phrase? Pay to play. Yeah? Very straightforward. Clinic number two, mid-range pricing, but the work is mostly done by assistants. And clinic number three, it was by far the cheapest. And again, like clinic number two, the top surgeon only supervises. And I also had a gripe with clinic number three. The communication was not the best and also no relevant afro results, while the other two clinics definitely had relevant afro results. And before I make my final decision on which clinic I would go for, I just want to say something about the amount of upsells that all these clinics have from lasers out of control. I did not know that it was this bad. Lasers and exosomes and O2 therapy, and it's just so many upsells, and most of them are completely garbage. They're useless. And they also can be really pushy in terms of getting you to close. They were using really salesy tactics like spaces are running out, we're approaching a busy period, it's starting soon, prices are about to go up. All of it, of course, complete BS because they were talking to me. It was really funny. One of the clinics actually told me that because our last message on WhatsApp was more than 24 hours ago, that they were not allowed to talk to me because of WhatsApp policies. Oh my goodness. What absolute BS. I don't know what that woman was on. Anyway, so which one would I go for? Which clinic would I go for if I was having this for real? I'd go for clinic one. And it's the most expensive, but I think the access to the top team is worth it. Do not believe the absolute BS people say that, oh yeah, if your hair transplant goes wrong, you can always have a second session. You only truly have one shot at a hair transplant because you know why? Because once you have that first hair transplant, your donor area will never, ever, ever be the same. Ever. So your first one is your best. Make your first one your best one. And this is why I think paying an extra a few €100 or even a few thousand is worth it. You really are going to regret it otherwise. So this is why I would go for clinic number one. Also, they were open because I tested a couple of the clinics and I said, these grafts seem too much. I don't think I need that many. Can we put a cap on the number of grafts to 3,000? And they were very happy. They said, yeah, we'll put a cap on it and we'll keep it at that. So I like the fact that they cooperated like that with me. And the communication also was very good, if a little bit pushy. But all of them were pushy, so I'm not going to hold that against them. What would have happened if I had used my social media platform? If I told them who I was and my social media? And I think I probably might have got the procedure for very, very, very cheap, possibly also for free, maybe. I've seen it happen before. Their marketing team would have been all over me like a cheap suit, wanting to probably film me as I land from the airport all the way to the hotel to the clinic. They would have made a mini movie about the whole thing like they do on their YouTube channels. Absolute VIP treatment. But that wouldn't be realistic because that wouldn't give the average person a true cost of what a hair transplant is like at the moment. So there you go. The top end of pricing appears to be somewhere around €2 per graft. And assuming the average person who goes for a hair transplant is going to need a minimum of 3,000 grafts, then I think €6,000 is a basic, bare minimum starting point. And if you need 4,000, 5,000 grafts and you are more significantly bald, then you are heading towards 8 to 10,000 euros. I think that's realistic. If anybody is thinking that they're going to have a hair transplant on the cheap, that person does not deserve, they should not even be thinking about a hair transplant, because this is such a huge life decision that the cost should not even come into it. Obviously, you have a cap in terms of the most you can afford. That's fair.
but that should be about it. If I can personally work an extra year or two to save up, I would do that. I would rather do that than cut corners and go for a cheap option.